Admiral Kethvar stared at the tactical display aboard the flagship Dominion's Edge, his scaled fingers drumming against the command console. The Terran homeworld hung before them like a blue marble, seemingly defenseless against the assembled might of the hegemony's Third Fleet. 2,000 warships arranged in perfect formation, their combined firepower capable of reducing entire star systems to cosmic dust. Such a small world to cause so much trouble, muttered Commander Ilex from her position at the weapons station. Her four eyes tracked the sensor readings with practiced efficiency. Intelligence reports show minimal orbital defenses, a few space stations, some mining platforms. Nothing that should concern a force of our magnitude. Kethvar nodded, though something nagged at him. The humans had been expanding aggressively for the past century, establishing colonies on worlds the hegemony considered rightfully theirs. When diplomatic protests failed, the Council of Species had authorized military action, yet the ease of this operation felt wrong. "Admiral," called the communications officer, his crystalline voice chiming like broken glass. "We're receiving a transmission from the planet's surface. Put it through." The main screen flickered, revealing a human female in what appeared to be casual clothing, no military uniform, no obvious signs of authority. She sat in what looked like a simple office, a cup of some steaming beverage in her hands. "Greetings," she said, her voice calm and measured. "I'm Director Sarah Chen of Earth's Defense Coordination. We've been expecting you." Kethvar leaned forward. "I am Admiral Kethvar of the Hegemony Third Fleet. You will prepare for immediate planetary occupation. Resistance will be met with overwhelming force." The human took a sip from her cup and smiled, an expression that sent an inexplicable chill down the Admiral's spine. "Admiral, before we proceed, I'd like to share something with you. Computer, display fleet disposition, Charlie 7. Behind her, a holographic display materialized showing the current positions of all hegemony vessels. But that wasn't what made Kethvar's blood run cold. The display also showed thousands of other contacts, ships that hadn't been there moments before, appearing from what seemed like empty space. "Cloaking technology," Ilex breathed. "But the energy signatures, they're impossibly small. How are they masking vessels of that size?" Director Chen set down her cup. "Oh, those aren't big ships, Commander. Quite the opposite, actually. Each of those contacts represents a single-person fighter craft. We call them Wasps. Cute name, don't you think?" The tactical officer's voice cracked with disbelief. "Admiral, I'm reading over 50,000 individual craft. They've completely surrounded us. How did they deploy from subspace microtunnels?" Chen continued conversationally. "Each pilot spent the last 3 hours in compressed space-time, waiting for your arrival. Uncomfortable, certainly, but humans have a remarkable tolerance for discomfort when properly motivated." Kethvar struggled to process the implications. "Impossible. The energy requirements alone would bankrupt most civilizations, yes." Chen's smile widened. "But you see, Admiral, you've made a fundamental error in your assessment of humanity. You assumed we were like other species, that we'd centralize our defenses, rely on massive ships and overwhelming firepower. But humans, we swarm." The sensor readings were changing rapidly now. The small craft weren't just surrounding them. They were moving in complex patterns, weaving between the hegemony ships with impossible precision. "Each Wasp carries a quantum lance," Chen explained, as if discussing the weather. "Tiny weapon, barely larger than a pencil. But when fired simultaneously by coordinated pilots," she gestured to her display. "Well, let's just say your shields were designed to stop massive energy discharges, not 50,000 pinprick attacks perfectly synchronized." Warning alarms began shrieking across the bridge. Ilex's four eyes darted frantically across her console. "Admiral, multiple hull breaches across the fleet. The small craft are somehow penetrating our shields and the quantum lances phase shift through energy barriers," Chen said helpfully. "Took our scientists about 30 years to figure that one out. The projectiles only solidify once they're inside your armor plating." Kethvar watched in horror as ship after ship on his tactical display winked out of existence. The mighty dreadnoughts, the pride of the hegemony fleet, were being systematically dismantled by enemies they couldn't even properly target. "This is impossible," he whispered. "No species coordinates attacks with this level of precision. The computational requirements, the reaction times needed." "Ah," Chen said, raising a finger. "There's your second mistake. You're thinking of... This is coordination, top-down command and control. But humans don't just coordinate, Admiral. We synchronize. Every pilot out there has been training for this exact scenario since they were 16 years old. They don't need orders. They don't need communication. They know exactly what every other pilot will do because they've done it together 10,000 times." The bridge of the Dominion's edge shuddered as something struck their hull. Emergency lighting bathed everything in crimson as the main power grid fluctuated. "Shields at 12%, reported the tactical officer. "Hull integrity compromised on decks 7 through 15. Admiral, we need to retreat." "There is no retreat," Chen said softly. "You came here to demonstrate the hegemony's power, to show a young species its place in the galaxy. But you've learned something important today, Admiral. Humans don't have a place in the galaxy. We are the galaxy. Every world you think you control, every species you believe serves you, we've been there first. We've been watching, we've been waiting." Kethvar's legs gave out, and he slumped into his command chair. Around him, his bridge crew worked frantically, at their stations, but the tactical display told the story clearly enough. The Third Fleet, 2,000 ships representing centuries of hegemony military advancement, was being methodically destroyed by an enemy that shouldn't have existed. "Why?" he managed to ask. "Why show yourselves now?" Director Chen stood up, smoothing down her simple clothing. "Because, Admiral, you finally gave us a reason. For 100 years, we've let other species think they were in charge. We've traded, negotiated, even paid tribute when it suited our purposes. But today you threatened our home. You brought weapons to our doorstep with the intention of enslaving our people." She walked closer to the camera, and Kethvar found himself staring into eyes that held depths he couldn't fathom. "That," she said quietly, "was a mistake you will not live to repeat." The transmission ended. 30 seconds later, the Dominion's edge joined the rest of the Third Fleet in becoming another piece of debris orbiting the small blue world that had just rewritten the balance of power in the galaxy. In the silence of space, 50,000 human pilots began their journey home, leaving behind a message that would echo across the stars. Earth was not defenseless. It had simply been waiting for the right moment to stop pretending that it was.